Have you ever wondered who fights for the rights of their people? Or how one person can inspire thousands? Today, we are diving into the story of a remarkable individual. Imagine someone so powerful that people believed he had India's magical abilities. Curious? Let's find out more. Birsa Munda roamed the forests of Chot Nagpur, Jharkhand, around 1895. Known for his miraculous powers, people believed he could cure diseases. He was also believed to have the ability to make crops grow abundantly. Thousands of followers viewed Birsa Munda as a savior sent by God. He aimed to free them from the oppression of outsiders called Dikus. Dikus were outsiders who took over tribal lands and made life difficult for the local tribes. Birsa, belonging to the Munda tribe, decided it was time to stand up against this injustice. Birsa Munda gathered not just his Munda tribe but also other tribes like the Santhals and Orons to join his movement. Together, they fought to protect their way of life, traditions, and rights. Tribal groups were primarily involved in farming, hunting, and gathering. Some practiced jhum cultivation, a type of shifting cultivation. In jhum cultivation, they would clear patches of forest land, grow crops for a few years, and then move on to let the land rest. Jhum cultivation, also known as shifting cultivation, was practiced on small patches of land, primarily in forests. The cultivators cut treetops to allow sunlight to reach the ground and burn the vegetation to clear the land for cultivation. The ash from the burned vegetation, rich in potash, was spread to fertilize the soil. Tools like the axe were used to cut trees, and the hoe was used to scratch the soil for cultivation. Seeds were broadcasted by scattering them on the field rather than plowing and sowing them. After harvesting the crop, the cultivators moved to another field, leaving the previously used field fallow for several years. Some tribal groups lived by hunting animals and gathering forest produce, considering forests essential for survival. The Khons, a tribal community in the forests of Ulisa, conducted collective hunts and shared the meat amongst themselves. They collected fruits, roots, and extracted oil from seeds like sal and mahua for cooking. Forest shrubs and herbs were used for medicinal purposes, and forest produce was sold in local markets. Local weavers and leather workers relied on the Khons for supplies of kusum and palash flowers to color their clothes and leather. Tribal people obtained rice and grains by exchanging forest produce or purchasing with their small earnings. Tribes like the Bagas of central India were reluctant to work for others, considering it below their dignity to become laborers. Tiavanbils often depended on traders and moneylenders for goods not produced locally, leading to debt and poverty. Many tribal groups lived by herding and rearing animals, practicing a pastoral lifestyle. These groups moved with their herds of cattle or sheep according to the seasons, relocating when the grass in one area was exhausted. The Van Gujars of the Punjab Hills and the Labadis of Andhra Pradesh were cattle herders. The Gaddis of Kulu were shepherds, responsible for herding sheep. The Bakrawals of Kashmir were known for rearing goats. Many from tribal groups began settling down and cultivating their fields in one place year after year, instead of moving frequently. They started using the plow and gradually obtained rights over land. In many cases, like the Mundas of Chot Nagpur, the land belonged to the clan as a whole, with all members having rights as descendants of the original settlers. Within clans, some people acquired more power than others, leading to chiefs and followers. Powerful men often rented out their land instead of cultivating it themselves. British officials considered settled tribal groups like the Gonds and Santhals to be more civilized compared to hunter-gatherers or shifting cultivators who were seen as wild and savage. British colonial rule brought many changes that affected tribal life. The British wanted to control the forests and introduced strict laws about land use. Tribal chiefs, who once had a lot of power, began losing control under British rule. They had to follow British laws and pay tribute, which made them feel powerless. This was a big change for the tribes. Birsa's movement inspired many to stand up against injustices. He urged his followers to return to a golden past where they could live freely and maintain their traditions. These laws made it difficult for tribes to continue their traditional practices like hunting, gathering, and jhum cultivation. Birsa and his followers were not happy about these changes at all. In the 19th century, traders and moneylenders increasingly entered forests to buy forest produce, offer cash loans, and seek labor. Tribal groups took time to understand the consequences of these interactions. In the 18th century, there was a high demand for Indian silk in European markets, leading to increased exports. The East India Company officials encouraged silk production to meet the growing demand. In Hajaribagh, Jharkhand, Santhals reared cocoons but received only 3 to 4 per thousand cocoons. These were sold at 5 times the price in Burdwan or Gaya. Middlemen made large profits by arranging deals between exporters and silk growers, while the growers earned very little. Many tribal groups viewed the market and traders as their main adversaries. Birsa Munda was not just a leader, he was a light of hope for his people. His life teaches us about bravery, the importance of community, and standing up for what's right. Just like Birsa, you too can make a difference in your community. Keep exploring, keep learning. And who knows? Maybe you'll inspire others just like he did. Until next time, keep asking questions and discovering the world around you. We hope that you have understood the topic. You can now study chapter notes, watch video lectures and solve MCQ tests of this chapter on EduRev to ensure you score well in your school exams. And that's not all, you also get amazing courses for maths, science, English, Hindi, and much more for class 8. Thank you.